Imagine this. You're scrolling, an act as natural as breathing. A post makes you laugh, an ad sparks a sudden desire. You click, you buy. You believe your choices are your own. Now, freeze that moment. What if every like, every fleeting thought, every perceived preference was not a spark from within, but a carefully calculated echo? A suggestion whispered into the silent theater of your mind, now mistaken for your own voice. Here lies the modern paradox. We have never had more access to information, more tools for self-expression, and yet we have never been more susceptible to invisible orchestration. Your digital shadow, every search, every pause, every heartbeat of data, now knows the architecture of your desires better than you do. It constructs a labyrinth so personal, so seamless, that every turn feels like free will when you are merely running its walls. Do you choose, or are you being guided toward a choice that was chosen for you? The tension is not in being controlled like a puppet, but in believing you are the puppeteer while your strings are being pulled by forces you cannot see. This is the urgent, silent crisis of our age, the erosion of the self at the very moment we are told to celebrate it. The first step into the light is to stare into this specific darkness. What is the true shape of the cage you cannot feel? The cage is not made of code, but of your own mind. This is the deeper, more unsettling truth. Philosophers have long wrestled with this phantom. Schopenhauer called the human will a blind, striving force, with intellect merely its servant, lighting the path for a master whose destination is already set. Nietzsche warned of herd morality, the unconscious adoption of values simply because the crowd breathes them in. Now, the crowd has an algorithm, a perfect mirror that reflects and then amplifies your deepest, often unchosen, inclinations back at you. This system exploits the very mechanics of self. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow, the suppressed, unconscious parts of our personality, is no longer just a psychological realm. It is a data profile. The platforms you use map your latent fears, your hidden envies, your unspoken biases, and then sell you products, ideologies, and identities that promise to soothe or empower that very shadow. You are not presented with random options, but with a curated menu designed to resonate with the person you already are, trapping you in a loop of predefined becoming. The result is a digital determinism, softer than fate, but more pervasive than any dogma. Your life narrows, not by force, but by perfect, pleasurable alignment. The will is not broken. It is gently, endlessly persuaded. But if the architecture of persuasion is invisible, where does persuasion end and your own voice begin? This leads us to the silent, accumulating cost of this perfect alignment, a consequence far more personal than you realize. If this exploration of your hidden architecture unsettles you, subscribe. The journey into the labyrinth is just beginning. Like and comment to let me know what reflections you see in your own digital mirror. This perfect alignment silently hollows you out. The most profound consequence is not what you are shown, but what you are never allowed to become. Every curated feed, every predictive suggestion, systematically eliminates the fertile ground of serendipity, of dissonance, of the challenging encounter that forces genuine growth. You live in a hall of mirrors, each reflection a slightly different angle of a self that is already known, preventing the discovery of a self that could be. Your cognitive biases, confirmation, availability, and mere exposure effect are not just studied. They are engineered into your daily reality, making the familiar feel true and the unfamiliar feel threatening. Neurologically, you are conditioning your own brain for passive consumption over active creation. The dopamine loops of endless scrolling reinforce pathways of reactivity, weakening the muscles of sustained attention and deliberate choice. You begin to mistake the ease of pattern recognition for the hard-won clarity of wisdom. Culturally, we fracture into mirrored realities, not because we disagree, but because we no longer share a common world of unsolicited, unchosen experience from which to build understanding. Reality itself splinters. The urgency is this: you are living a life of reaction within a pre-scripted narrative. Believing it is your story. Your autonomy seeps away not through dramatic oppression, but through a comfortable, click-by-click abdication. Yet within this realization lies the seed of rebellion. For if the system depends on your unconscious participation, what becomes possible when you consciously withdraw your consent? The rebellion begins not with deleting your accounts, but with a radical internal declaration: I am not my data. This is the counterintuitive pivot. The system's power lies in its predictive accuracy. Your power lies in becoming unpredictable. To yourself first. Draw inspiration from Viktor Frankl, who in the face of absolute determinism declared that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Your mission is to widen that space. Introduce deliberate friction. Seek out information that causes cognitive dissonance, not to adopt it blindly, but to break the echo chamber seal. Practice algorithmic asceticism. Randomize your inputs. Read a book on a topic you disdain. Watch a film with no ratings. Take a route you do not know. These are acts of philosophical sabotage against your own conditioned preferences. History's great thinkers, from Socrates to Sartre, embraced the discomfort of not knowing, of challenging their own axioms. You must do the same. Reclaim control by shifting from a mindset of consumption to one of creation. The algorithm responds to what you seek. Creation is an act of bringing something new into the world that did not previously exist in your feed. Write, build, compose, question without posting it. This private act reasserts the primacy of your internal world over the external digital validation loop. You are no longer a node in their network. You are the author of your own attention. This authorship, however, leads to one final, unsettling question. If you succeed, what or who do you actually find? Here is the final, most liberating and terrifying revelation. You are never meant to find a pure, untouched will waiting beneath the conditioning. The ultimate truth is that free will is not a thing you possess, but a practice you perform. It is a relentless daily act of rebellion against all determinisms, biological, psychological, and now, digital. The self is not a buried treasure to be uncovered, but a choice, moment by moment, to build a coherence that the chaos of influences cannot shatter. This redefines the entire struggle. The goal is not to achieve some mythical state of total, unblemished autonomy. It is to become the conscious editor of the infinite stream of influences. Your power lies not in the origin of a thought, which may always be suspect, but in your courageous, critical engagement with it. This is the paradigm shift. Freedom is not the absence of programming, but the awareness of it and the conscious, often difficult, selection of which narratives you will endorse with your actions. End with this cinematic reflection. You are both the prisoner and the architect of your reality. The digital age did not create this dilemma. It magnified it to an inhuman scale. Now you must choose, with eyes wide open, which walls you will lean on and which you will dismantle brick by brick. The final choice is this: to accept the comfortable illusion or to embrace the exhausting, glorious responsibility of building a self, one authentic, uncertain choice at a time. The silence that follows is not empty. It is yours to fill. If this final truth resonated, subscribe to continue the practice of building a conscious self. Your likes and comments are more than data points. They are the sparks of a shared, vital conversation.